What's up everybody, my name's Trey and welcome to another video. Now I have a question for you. Can you picture a world with no physical cash in it? Well, if you can't, you might want to start. And that's because many experts all around the world speculate that governments have been trying to do this for years now, but they haven't found the right time to implement the changes needed to put this into effect. Or that is until now. If you haven't noticed, we've been in a crisis for some time now, and it is during these times that governments like to try to implement new and aggressive policies to turn around the economy. And right now, there is 1.9 trillion, with a T, trillion dollars circulating the economy in cash alone. And 80% of that money is in the form of $100 bills. So what going cashless would mean is that all physical currency would essentially be eliminated. Basically, it would be completely illegal to buy items using cash or coins. I know this sounds completely crazy, but in this video, I'll be going over the pros and the cons to switching to a cashless society. But before we get into this video, if you are new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified every time I post a video. And with that being said, let's get into that intro. Now, you have to understand that some countries around the world have already started implementing changes to get rid of cash completely. If you look at Italy, it basically made it illegal for cash transactions over 1,000 euros. Russia and Australia made it illegal for cash transactions over 10,000 of their respective currencies. Spain over 2,500 euros, and Mexico over 200,000 pesos. And if you look at this list right here, there are a ton of other countries that are looking to go completely cashless in the very near future. Not only that, but businesses all around the world have started rejecting cash as a valid payment option. So this cashless agenda is definitely something that you should be aware of. Now, in order to understand why so many countries want to go cashless, we need to talk about the pros and cons that researchers and analysts speculate will come for such a drastic change. So first, let's go over the pros. Now, the first pro that we're going to be talking about when it comes to a cashless society is the fact that it will reduce crime. Or at least it has already done that in countries that have already implemented a cashless agenda. By having a digital currency, our government can reduce fraud and almost eliminate money laundering. Right now, it's estimated that money laundering criminals launder between 1.7 and 4.6 trillion dollars every single year. And that's a crazy large number if you really think about it. It is also speculated that going cashless allows the government to actually capture this loss and make these taxable events. If this were the case, there would be a huge influx of money into our government. And it can really start making some amazing changes because of it. You can think of free healthcare or universal basic income. Now, that's something to think about, folks, because I definitely wouldn't mind an extra $2,000 hitting my bank account every single month just because I'm an American citizen. The next pro that we're going to talk about when it comes to going cashless is the fact that businesses are going to make a lot more profit. And that's because they're not spending money on transporting and storing cash. Not only that, but it is speculated that all businesses lose around 5% of their revenue due to theft. And when employees were actually surveyed, 75% of them said that they stole from their employer at one point in time. I mean, that's a lot of people out here stealing stuff. So make sure you're watching your stuff, people, because you never know who's out to get you. But you also have to remember that it doesn't always have to be cash that these people are stealing. They can be stealing time or physical products. And well, when you say it like that, I drink like 2 gallons of water a day, and I can remember most days at work, I spent the majority of my time in the bathroom. But that should be allowed because really I'm just trying to be healthy, have some big old muscles, so I feel like they should just let that slide. The third pro that we're going to be talking about when it comes to actually going cashless is the fact that it would be a lot easier for people to track their spending habits. Now, there is a huge difference between the government tracking the money in the economy and you tracking your personal spending habits. Now, if all currency and all spending was digital, it would be extremely easy to track each and every dollar that you spend. And you could use this knowledge to help out your financial situation. Maybe you need to save more money for your emergency fund or invest more for your retirement. Well, you would basically be able to check on how and when you're spending your money and if those choices are good or bad for your financial future. Now, the next pro that we're going to be talking about, I don't see a lot of people actually bringing up. And it's the fact that if we were to truly go cashless, and I mean on a global scale, every single country actually implements this and goes cashless, we could greatly reduce deforestation. Right now, it's estimated that 5 billion trees are cut down every single year. Now, I'm not saying that going cashless would completely eliminate deforestation, but it would definitely be steps in the right direction to restoring our environment. And I mean, who doesn't want a healthier world? Because we all benefit from it. Now, the last pro that we're going to be talking about when it comes to going cashless, and probably the one that most governments are pushing the hardest for, is the fact that if we do completely eliminate cash, we'll really prevent the spread of germs. Now, this is mostly due to the times that we're in currently, because we've basically been in crisis for the last 12 months because of this crazy disease. And it has been at the forefront of governments all around the world to find ways to stop the spread of germs, diseases, and illnesses. And that's because those are really the only main threats to our actual population. So it's going to be really important for governments to find ways to actually do this, even if it is completely eliminating cash, which was something that we wouldn't have even thought of just 100 years ago. So those were just some reasons why going cashless makes a ton of sense, and how one day we might have whole museums dedicated to cash of the past. Ooh, that sounds good. Make sure you put that down in the comment section down below. Cash of the past, because I did just make that up. I might have been a rapper in my past life because that sounded beautiful. But we will also be able to tell our grandkids how we used to walk 10 miles in the snow to get to banks, to get green paper that we used to use to buy things. And probably our grandkids wouldn't believe us at all. But that's exactly what our grandparents told us, in the fact that they used to walk 10 miles through the snow to get to school, even though there were buses. So somebody's not telling the truth here, but I'm not calling anybody a liar. I'm just saying. So now that we went over the pros of a cashless system, what are some of the cons? Because, well, there are some pretty big cons with this system. Now, the first con that we're going to be going over when it comes to a cashless system is a pretty big one. And that's the fact that if we do go to a cashless system, we'll essentially be giving up all control to the IRS and the banks. This means we'll be making the banks even more powerful than they already are. Now, the government has been talking about something really crazy, and that's negative interest rates. Now, if you don't know what negative interest rates are, I can't really blame you. And that's because negative interest rates has never happened in American history. But basically what this means is that people who save money would be penalized. And this is because the government wants to incentivize people to spend money out in the economy, with the hopes of raising the economy up and making it boom again. Now, with a cash system, this is something very hard to do. And that's because if you find that you have a negative interest rate at your bank, you can simply take all your money out and keep it in your home. And that's because you'll be getting a higher rate of return just keeping your money at your house instead of at the bank. But if we go completely cashless, people won't have this option, which means the government and banks essentially run everything when it comes to our actual currency. So you have to remember, if we have cash, we have power. Another con of going to a completely cashless society is the fact that if all information was digital, we would basically have no privacy. Anyone at any point in time could use this data to pinpoint our every location. Companies could use this information to market products to people that they know would buy them. And if you're somebody that's into more of the conspiracy theories, the government could basically use this information and hit the delete button. They could make somebody completely disappear without a trace. And that's because there's no paper trail, and essentially all this information would just be stored in computers. So these are some huge cons that are really related to the cashless society. So basically, if we decide to implement a cashless system, the pros are that we would be bettering the environment. Businesses would be more profitable, and it would be easier for people to travel and actually be able to spend money. But the cons are, well, the government would have all of the control and no one would have any privacy. Now, I don't think that the US will go to a cashless society in the near future, as it might be over 10, maybe even 20 years before they actually go completely cashless. However, I do think that they will tighten up on the cash that is actually in our economy. They may get rid of the $100 bill and the $50 bill and see how that actually affects our economy. So if you learned something new in this video, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're somebody that's new to my channel, basically I make videos about how you can make money online, diversify your income, and financial news that I think is pretty important for you to know. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.